Hello and welcome back to RamsTalkPodcast. At a moment there where I thought we weren't going live, we just sat in silence for about 10 seconds in the studio. But we're here today after another defeat from being ahead. Starting to feel a bit familiar that. Middlesbrough, we never win there. We said before, we literally never ever win there. And surprise, surprise, we didn't win there again. There were some positives to take, but there are also a lot of things we need to talk about as well regarding where Derby are going wrong at the moment, which is mental when we've won 6 and 8, but you can always improve, can't you? So joining me today is a man whose IT is the worst of any man I've ever met. It's Jamie Page. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. If anyone wants to get me a Wi-Fi upgrade, hardware upgrade, just any general IT upgrade, then feel free, get in touch.
He is literally the most wealthy man I know, so please don't do that. But we've also got Callum, Boocock, doppelganger. We've got Ivan Little. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'll fill in for him today. I've got the same haircut, so hopefully we'll have the same ball knowledge as well.
I hope yours is better, mate. Otherwise, this will be a tough episode. So, right, let's get straight into it and talk about the key events of the game, right? Because I think we've got a pretty broad discussion we want to get onto after that about Derby, the setup, especially in that second half. But we couldn't have started any better, Jamie. You watched the first goal, I mean, the only goal that we scored on the night. Long goal kick from the keeper. Sanderson wins the header. Salverson with unbelievable vision to flick it over his own head, play Patrick Agyemang through a goal. Agyemang kept his cool, put it onto his right foot, slots it into the back of the net. Chaos in the away end, frustration from the home end. It was the perfect start, wasn't it, for Derby? Okay, Jamie's not here. As we were talking about that, right, Ivan, you're in. Okay, Ivan, it was good, wasn't it? It was a good start.
It was great. Yeah, I wasn't actually listening to the question. No, I'm kidding. It was a great start. I think it's a sort of testament to starting Salverson, which is why I was so confused when Morris went down injured in the Watford game, why he sort of pushed Big Pat into the centre rather than going with what I assume we would have all thought would have happened, which is putting Salverson on. That's what he's in there for, just sort of making a nuisance of himself, keeping the ball, bringing other players into play. And when you've got sort of two other basically strikers who both have good pace in Brereton Diaz and Agyemang up front, you want him to flick the ball on like that and get them involved. So it was great, and it was a fantastic finish. And unfortunately, it was probably a little bit too early, which sounds insane to say, but with the way that Eustace likes to play, it always seems like scoring super early like that is always a little bit tricky, because we know he doesn't like to sort of control possession and go at teams, so to speak. So yeah, a bit of a tricky one, but a great start and definitely a positive to take. Great finish. So really nice to see him score with his feet for a change.
Like you mentioned there, do you think it actually affected Derby maybe negatively scoring that early?
Yeah, I mean, I was sat with my friend who's a Cardiff fan watching the game, and he will pick apart anything to try and bring me down after going mental. And he was just sort of like, it's not always great to score early. And I sort of told him where to go with that opinion. But he was sort of right, with the way that we play, having 26% possession for, 90 minutes of a game where you're ahead for 88 and a half or whatever it was. It isn't good, because it seems like the sort of plan was go and get a goal whenever you can and then hold on to it. If you can get a win, fantastic. If you get a draw, you're away from home against second in the league. I know that they've got a new manager and everything, but that would have been a great point before the game. So it's a difficult one, and I'm still immensely positive after it. I'm rightly, like everyone is, disappointed, but yeah, it's tricky to say that you concede early and that's a bad thing. Score early and that's a bad thing, but in that exact case, in that exact game, it obviously was. So difficult one to take.
Yeah, speaking of difficult to take, Jamie's gone already. His internet is dreadful. I've never met a man with such poor internet. It's interesting you say that because when you look at that first half, I mean, obviously we'll get onto the disaster that was the second half, but Derby created a lot of chances in that first half. You look at Dion Sanderson's header, should have scored. In my opinion, I think he should have buried it. Free header, centre of the box. I mean, we'll talk about free headers in a bit because there was one that was scored, unfortunately not for us. Completely free, completely open, and doesn't quite get the right contact. And we had another. Matt Clark had a good chance, didn't he, as well? I think Sondra Langus had a good chance as well. We had quite a few headers in good positions from set pieces, and we just didn't take advantage of it, did we?
No, we definitely didn't. And I think there's been a few games where there's the potential to sort of say that is the case, bar sort of the Sheffield United game where we were just ridiculously clinical. There have been a few games where we sort of, we beat Norwich 1-0, we beat QPR 2-1 or 1. No, it's 1-0 as well. There's like a few games in there where a second goal would have killed the momentum. And I really thought that after getting away with the first half where we were clearly sort of trying to sit in and get to half time, had we gone and scored just after half time, it completely takes everything said at half time, all of the geeing up the players and getting back into it and getting ready to come back at us. It just takes the wind out of them and it calms the game down. And then then you can start to pick them apart a little bit. So I had one of them. That's why I think it's the most positive I've been after a loss in a long, long time. Because I'm not too bothered about it. I really not. Like I really don't like that we sat back and it wasn't great, but 2 goals that were fairly avoidable kind of mistakes where we fell asleep. First one, I think keeper should have saved. I'm not too worried about it. It's the way we play. We're going to win a lot more games playing like that than we are going to lose, in my opinion. So I think we're being a bit harsh.
Yeah, potentially. It's that frustration, isn't it? I think after Watford last week, I think everyone was fuming, me included.
Exactly.
And then to kind of go and do a similar sort of thing again, obviously it's away against a good side, but it is frustrating. In the comments, Sonny and Rich both saying, Sanderson should have scored. And he really should have scored. I watched it back.
He didn't touch it, did he? Did he even head it?
I think he caught it. He's got a lot of hair. Yeah, flicked off the hair and off the Borough man and out for a corner, which... was disappointing to say the least. And that takes us on to the second half, and this is where things start to go downhill. Now, momentum charts are one of the most baffling things in football, but I've got it up in front of me here. And the first half, there's a lot of Borough, but there's a lot of Derby as well. And Derby had a lot of chances and a lot of periods in that first half where we controlled the game. And what frustrated me the most in that second half was we did exactly what we did against Blackburn. And we tried really hard to just sit in and defend. And now I hate that. I really hate that. I think it's the wrong mentality. You go out at half time and you're like, right, let's not lose. You're winning. You've gone toe-to-toe with them all half. You've created a shed load of chances. They were on the back foot at times in that first half. Going into the second half, we've basically given them a free ride to absolutely batter us. And I mean, the stats are quite frankly ridiculous. 74% possession for Middlesbrough, 26% for Derby. And I know possession isn't the best stat in the world, but that is pretty stupid, to be honest. And Middlesbrough ended up having 21 shots compared to our 6 overall. Although, ironically, we had 2 big chances and they only had 1. Ivan, what do you make of our setup in that second half? Because we've seen us do it a few times now, haven't we? That Blackburn one, again, was nerve-wracking in the second half. Why do we keep doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to say. I am sort of not positive about the loss, but positive about most things that are going on right now. Apart from Jamie's connection, but other than that, it's been really, really positive. But it was a difficult one to understand in the second half. It didn't really make sense, especially considering they've just lost their manager. That they could easily drop off massively with the squad that they've got and everything. Like it seemed like they were there for the taking, especially after going 1-0 up. So it is confusing. It has been a little bit of a worry in the last few games. It always seems like we concede, even in the games that we've won. Like you said, we conceded at Blackburn. We conceded. It was a really good goal, obviously, but in Tuesday against Swansea, we conceded. Like it always seems like we've got a really tense last 10 minutes. And we don't deal with that well at all. And in this game, we had a really tense, it was a pretty tense 88 minutes, but it was, I vaguely remember sort of 55 to 60 minutes being like, I feel like it's the 82nd right now, because we're really digging in deep. All of it, they're clearly told with clearances, just get it away. It doesn't matter where it goes, loop it up and get rid of it. And then we get back in our shape. And it's quite hard not to be hypocritical, because I don't like the way that they played at all. And it was really disappointing to not see us go for them. However, like I said before, I think the system that he plays, we will win a lot more games playing that way and trusting what he does as a manager than situations that happen like this. Again, like you said, we've won 6 in 8. The squad that we have is overperforming, in my opinion. I know we've got some good players, but to be in 5th at the time of going 1-0 up, it's such an open league, and we're doing really, really well. And it's 2 disappointing results in the space of a week, which is tough to take, especially the way that both of them have gone. But there's so many positives over the last amount of time, and we've lost Ozo and Morris, who, in my opinion, are our 2 best players, other than Langas. And that's tough. And we've still gone to Swansea and won 2-1. There are a lot more positives than negatives to take.
Are you all right, Ivan? That's like the most emotional.
Sorry, I just there's John Eustace he's I get very passionate talking about him. It's much better than some of the stuff we've had in the past. I never had this before Ward, so it's been a long time.
I can see the emotion. I
know,
see it
pouring out of me.
through.
It's pouring out of me. I can't. Another day scrolling Twitter, seeing we're a couple of losses away from Eustace out again. I can't go through that again. I just can't do it. So
Jamie's got his phone out. He's rung up the operator. He's heard that dial tone sound. He's back. Eustace Enthusiast says Jamie's connection is about as good as the connection between our attack and their goal in the second half, which just made me laugh. Jamie, on that point, if you can stick around for more than a minute or so,
I'll try.
What do you make of Derby's second half setup? Ivan's given an emotional rendition of how he feels about it, but is it a little bit too negative?
Yeah, I'm not sure what I can really add to that, Ivan. That's pretty special. But yeah, look, the first half we looked so good, and second half it just didn't feel like we wanted to put ourselves over in the game at all. And I think that's strange, because at the start of the season, we were very much a second half team, weren't we? We were kind of limping to the break and then coming out and being a little bit better in the second half. So it's disappointing. I did see it coming. I'll be honest. I thought, obviously, last week that this was going to be a loss. And with the way that we set up in the second half, I just thought it was a matter of time. To be honest, it probably was a little bit longer than I initially thought it was going to be. But it just felt like they were going to score. And again, similar to last Saturday, I just thought when they get one, the momentum's there and they're going to go and get another. But yeah, really strange. And I don't know, is it a case of we just haven't got the players to be able to go and be adventurous for the full 90 minutes? Is it a case of, that will always be the plan when we've got a full squad, a full team? I'm not too sure, but I have to take a step back. And as I said on X last night, you just have to take a step back and go, you know what, 6 and 8, it's not the end of the world. We never win there anyway. If we can bounce back and get a result next week, then we're forgetting about this result today. So I think it's all about the reaction, just like it was after the disappointment against Watford.
Yeah, very well said. There's a lot of emotional tributes going on in the chat to Ivan. Jamie, hopefully you get the same treatment as well. Let's talk about that first goal we conceded. We were talking about sitting back under pressure, but it was a set piece that ultimately was the reason for Derby throwing away any chance of 3 points in the game, and then later on for any points in the game. But that first goal, ball comes into the box. It's a good corner. It's a great ball in from Hackney. He's got a good delivery. And for some unknown reason, we have just left Matt Targett, one of their, biggest aerial threats, just free on his own at the back post. And he's got a completely free run on our defence who are set up zonally in the middle. And he just jumps over them, heads it. I think it catches Zetterstrom out. I don't think he expects it. I don't think he even sees him there. And he's a little bit slow to react. He can't get a strong enough hand to it. Bullet header into the back of the net. Ivan, frustrating, isn't it? And we've seen since Morris has gone out, we've got a little bit of a weakness at corners now. It feels like we've lost that little bit of leadership at the back.
Yeah, I think to an extent it's Ozo as well. Ozo's a big, I know he's been out for longer, but you've got Adams who's not great in the air, and Salverson doesn't seem to be coming back for defending corners as much. So yeah, he's a huge presence in the box, and he wins most of the headers defending and attacking. So it's obviously going to be a little bit tougher. That being said, someone's job would have been to mark him. He's their centre back. It's presumably one of our centre backs' job. They haven't done it, and then even after that, I just think Zetterstrom's got to save it. If that strong, it's a good header, but if you get that strong of a hand to it, you've just got to save it. You can't push it into the top corner. So he can go to Forest as far as I'm concerned. Joking, of course, but yeah, I just think it's poor defending, poor goalkeeping. You concede that away from home against a good side. It's disappointing given how good we've been defending corners, but I'm not too worried about it. It seems like 2 mistakes and similar to the last goal, it's very avoidable. It's not something that I think will become a problem, to be honest.
Although you say that, Ivan, when you look at the goals we've conceded from corners recently, we've conceded one from the front post, one from the back post. And both times, all our zonal players have been completely still. They've not attacked the ball. They've not gone for it. If you look at that goal, Targett is on his own, as we've said, and he runs in at that back post, and he's up against 2 Derby players, and he just leaps over both of them. Now, we had, 5-6 players marking zonally in that centre? All of them were pretty much in the 6-yard box, and not one of them went out to attack the ball. Jamie, do you think that's a little bit of a worry, the fact that, I've not seen us defend like that before from corners, not for quite a long time, not since the times when we conceded corners every week about 10 years ago. What's going on at Derby defensively with corners at the minute?
Well, yeah, there's two in 2 weeks, and really soft goals to concede, and ones you just don't like conceding. You never like conceding a goal, of course you don't, but to concede in that manner, it's just really frustrating. And I know you say, he's an aerial presence, but he's not that big, is he? I mean, how many headers has Matt Targett scored in his life? That's probably one of maybe 2 or 3, probably something like that. I don't know. But a question, I guess, I don't know if you know the answer to, is obviously whenever we have a set piece, Gardner comes out to the box and almost replaces Eustace as this set piece coach. Does he do this? Because I haven't noticed it. Does he do the same when we are defending set pieces as well? Because it seems as though he's probably a bit more involved in the attacking side of it and not in the defending of it. And almost, I kind of want him to swap. I want him to put a bit more focus on defending them than attacking them, at least for the next couple of weeks, because we really need to improve that. And you say there zonally marking. I mean, look, we can't pledge to know everything about football. We've only played in local parks. However, I never like to see my defenders zonal mark. I always like man for man, go and beat your man. And as long as you don't miss out on your personal battle, 9 times out of 10, they don't score, in my opinion. So yeah, I'd like to see that change if I'm honest, and hopefully they're on the training ground as of tomorrow working on that.
Well, Jamie, you say, we've only played on local parks, but I think both of us are level on goals with Caden Jackson for goals at Pride Park, and we've played significantly fewer games. So, I just keep that in mind. I just think about that for a minute. But yeah, it's definitely something Derby need to focus on. I think alarm bells would have been ringing in all the coaching staff's heads about that, because yeah, we can't keep conceding set pieces like this, especially, you know, when we're sitting so deep. We're going to give corners away, we're going to give free kicks away. If we can't defend them, then we're just going to keep losing games in the second half. And speaking of losing games in the second half, who else is going to score the winner? It's Morgan Whittaker. I mean, I've gone on record before, I actually quite liked Morgan Whittaker when he was at Derby. I watched a lot of the youth team at that point because I didn't have a lot else to do. And, you know, he was unbelievable. He scored loads of goals. He set loads of goals up. And I think his problem was he came into the first team at a time when the likes of Sibley was hitting hat tricks. You know, you had Max Bird stepping in and playing alongside Rooney, Jason Knight scoring goals and being everywhere. And he just didn't quite hit the ground running the same way the others did. And I think people got on his back very quickly for that. And the problem is that I think he took it quite personally, because he seems to absolutely hate us now, which, fair enough, if he wants to do that. It doesn't feel as sweet, I think, when you sit down later on at night and you think, oh God, I wish there's people like me, kind of thing. But Whittaker picks up the ball, cuts inside, crosses it, it goes in. It's classic Derby. We always concede the most ridiculous goals in the most ridiculous of times. It's a great ball right in the corridors. Zetterstrom can't go for it. Ironically, I don't know if you noticed, there were actually two players at the back post completely unmarked that were both on side, that are both, peeled into the back of the area. So if it didn't hit the back of the net, one of them would have tapped it in as well. So that would have been nice. But Ivan, frustrating goal to concede. It was always going to be him. We knew it was going to be him. I found his celebration quite entertaining, actually, that he just completely ignored all his own fans who also hate him, and went and celebrated in front of us instead, which, yeah, pretty funny. I mean, it's a poor goal to concede, isn't it? From another corner as well.
Yeah, it's poor. And yeah, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's avoidable. It's he's crossed it in. It's a fine cross and it takes everyone by surprise. It's in swinging, so no one wants to get a foot on it because it's hit with like quite a lot of pace. You get a foot on it, it could easily go in. You're hoping it either swings around the outside of the post or, the keeper makes a decision and comes out early. But it was perfect for that situation and it goes in. And yeah, he gets his 5th goal in like 40 games. So fine, he can have that. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? Like, I if he did it for us or if one of our players did it, I'd be loving it. So I'm just not really bothered. Going back to the goal, it's a disappointing one to concede, but it's to me, again, like you said, two players. You were right about there's 2 players on the back post that are unmarked, so it was going in either way. So that's worrying, but in terms of the actually what happened, had it gone around the other side of the post and we draw 1-1, it doesn't seem like there's a huge system issue there. I don't think. I think there's the potential that defending set pieces and stuff could become a problem, but yeah, we've lost 2 big players and they're obviously integral, especially Morris, to what we do on both ends. So I'm not too worried about it, and good luck to him in his career.
That sounded so bitter.
It is. It's a little bit of bitterness. Good luck, Good luck. He's going to need it.
So, Jamie, Ivan did mention there, is it not a system issue? But if you watch that corner closely, they play the short corner. One player goes out to close them down, and they're in a 3v1 situation. And they just play it round them. And then Whittaker is completely free. And, no one gets out quick enough to close him down. He puts the ball in. There's then 2 more players at the back post that haven't been tracked. So you've got, 9 players at the back for Derby, and 2 of them have closed someone down or followed a runner. 2 of 9. How does that happen? Were we just tired? Were we just, so content on sitting in and not really getting out and closing down and just trying to contain that, we just lost concentration? How do you see it?
It's difficult. I think it's probably a mix of everything, in all honesty. You're going to be tired whenever you've had to defend and spent 40 odd minutes defending, the whole game defending to an extent. You're going to be tired. So I understand that, but what I can't kind of legislate for is effort. I think you've got to get out. You've got to work hard. You're in the final moments of the game. This is the difference between maybe getting the playoffs or not getting the playoffs, or staying up in the division or not staying up in the division. You know, we're not home and dry by any means, and a run of losses could kind of, you know, see us tumbling back down to where we don't want to be. So I think effort is the key thing here. You have to go and close him down. You have to make sure that he doesn't get that ball in the box. But I also think as well is maybe we kind of backed ourselves. I know we'd obviously conceded from the corner, but I think we do back ourselves that when people are in wide areas that they're not going to damage us too much. And I think we also trust Zetterstrom as well, that he's a good goalkeeper, and normally 9 times out of 10 he deals with those situations. But it was that lucky cross shot that he could probably try 1,000,001 times and it goes in 3 times or 4 times, and that's ultimately what's happened. And as we've said, it just had to be him. I don't really feel any way towards him. I don't necessarily remember him in a Derby County shirt. I just remember him being this young kid.
He didn't watch us
and
back then, mate, so don't worry about
it. Yeah, true. But he just doesn't seem to have grown up. He's got a couple more tattoos, but he just seems to be the same child that came through the academy. But loves scoring against us. No doubt he'll probably do it at Pride Park and do something similar. But look, we've got to move on, haven't we? We've got to move on. We've got to look forward to being on IT. We're on ITV on Saturday, aren't we?
Oh, I wouldn't know, mate. I go to the games, but
we might be. Yeah, well, you have to remember, Jake, you live about 10 seconds away from the ground, and I live about a country mile and 4 hours. So, yeah, we're not all from a DE postcode, mate.
I'm going to say that got a reaction, didn't it? that got more than I expect. You can tell we're hurting.
You in the same bracket as Morgan.
Yeah, Whittaker it's Morgan Whittaker. He's wound everyone up. But we don't care. We don't care, though.
Oh man, yeah, it's frustrating, isn't it? And then Derby didn't have a shot in the second half, which was, not funny. Funny in retrospect, not funny at the time. Yeah, it's just disappointing. We just folded and let them win, basically, and that's how it felt to me. Was that we had a real chance to, keep going toe to toe with them, and we did in that first half. And second half, we're just like, come at us, come try and beat us, and then it turns out they're actually quite good, and they did. So. That's probably a bit of an issue. But can you see positives, Ivan, from, like I said, we went toe-to-toe with Middlesbrough, and it wasn't just, going toe-to-toe with one of the teams towards the top of the division, but we also did it with a lot of players missing. You've got Morris missing, you've got, like you said, Ozo missing, Johnston missing, Travis missing. We've got quite a lot of players in different positions that aren't around at the moment, that have weakened Derby as a team. Do you think it's a good sign that, again, we've got away from home and we've given them, for at least a bit, a real game?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly think it's a very different result last year, if that's anything to go off. I think the squad is just slowly, year by year, just getting better and better. We stayed up last year, and then it's just about build. You can't sign 11 brilliant players every year. So it will slowly come bit by bit, and assuming we stay up or stay in the division this year, it should just keep coming. Slowly the players that got us up from League One and kept us up just in the Championship start to filter out, and you start to bring in new players season by season. And I know there's always talk about investment coming in and stuff like that, so there's always the opportunity to strengthen the squad. So it's a great sign. We're missing a huge part of our spine in the top scorer in the league, which is obviously a huge factor. You're missing Travis, who's a really experienced player and, cost a bit of money and is our captain. So that's obviously, someone that Eustace wants in the team. You're missing Ozo, who I would probably say is our second or third best player. So yeah, it's good. I think the big thing with the squad is, I know our bench wasn't ridiculously strong on Saturday, but one thing that really concerned me was the fact that we didn't make a sub until, I think it was the 78th minute, something like that. It certainly wasn't before the 75th. 80th. There you go. Yeah. So, and I was screaming for it from, I want to say like 60. I just felt like Adjumang and Brereton Diaz seem to run a lot, and it's a big part of their game is closing down and shutting off passing lanes to the wings. And they just seem to lose it a little bit. And when you're defending, that much and sitting in and then having to counter attack and doing these short bursts, you need just trust a little bit of your bench and trust that we do have a little bit more squad depth than we did last year. So that was really disappointing. I thought that was a mistake that he made that would have helped us massively, just having a little bit of fresh legs up there for what we were trying to do. So,
yeah, no, I agree. And Jamie, you look at that, they scored in the 75th and 84th minute. We found the same against Blackburn, right? We waited until Blackburn scored and got back into the game before we actually made any changes. If we are backs to the wall for a lot of that game, that's a lot of closing down. It's a lot of physical work, but it's a lot of mental work too. The players are having to be really, really switched on because they're constantly tracking runners and they don't have the respite of the forward players having the ball and just having a few minutes of breathing space. You know what I mean? Your three centre-backs, all second half, were constantly engaged, and they didn't get a second to rest. Why does Eustace do this? Can you work it out? Because in my head, 1-0 up, 70 minutes, Ryan Niambi is coming on. That is what's going through my head. We're under the cosh. Joe Ward is shaky defensively, as we've seen in multiple games this season. Bring on Niambi. His whole role, get on, defend, help absorb pressure. And he waited too long again. I mean, what do you think?
It's difficult. It's difficult to know and get in the mind of John Eustace. And I think sometimes we, with hindsight and sitting on a sofa or sitting in the stand, you think you know best. I was surprised. I was. But then I think sometimes it's a case of, if you get that one chance, the situation that you've said there about bringing Niambi on for Joe Ward, you're basically saying, this is it. What we have, we hold now, because if we get another opportunity and it's down that right hand side, you're not getting the quality in a forward area from Niambi that you would do with a Ward. If you bring on a Jackson, you're not getting the same level of quality as an Adjumang, in my opinion. So it almost feels like he waits, and then it feels like, the goal goes in, and it was almost, I was going to do that, so we'll do that anyway. It's frustrating, it is, but then I also understand that he wants to keep his best players on the pitch, and if they do get that one chance, and I think we'll see it at some point this season, where we leave a player like an Adjumang, like a Salverson, like a Brereton Diaz on longer than the fans want him on for, but one of them will take an opportunity, will end up winning the game, and it will be that risk that's kind of paid off. So I'm not going to judge him too much for that. I think if it happens again in the future and it keeps costing us, then there's a bit of a trend there, and you can worry a bit more and potentially criticise a little bit more. But I just think it's the case of, we just don't have the quality on the bench in terms of, Vyman, Jackson, Niambi. I don't think they come on and are game changers and at the same level of quality as those that are starting at the moment.
I don't know if I agree with that. Jamie, because Brereton Diaz, after half time in every game, looks like he's towing 12 caravans behind him. And when we're defending, he's struggling to get across. Surely Vyman, at least, can do more than that.
Yeah, you'd say that. I think you'd say from maybe 60 minutes, 70 minutes onwards, that could be the case. However, if you get an opportunity, I don't know, look, Brereton Diaz, he's very hit or miss. You've got that example at Wrexham where he's very hit, and we've got a lot of misses as of late. However, he is the kind of player, in my eyes, that can nick a goal. I think using those two examples is right, to be fair. I think you probably could have Vyman on for Brereton Diaz earlier in the game. But what I would say with that is that we've been hearing from Vyman and from Eustace earlier in the season that Vyman isn't a winger, isn't a wide player. So maybe that is a reason why that's not happening. There's a lot to take away from that. And like I say, what I want to see is I don't want to obviously see it happen a few more times, but if it does happen a few more times, then I feel like I can judge it a bit better. But on one occasion, I'm just going to give Eustace the benefit of the doubt.
Very generous, very generous. No, I agree. I think it is a difficult situation. Again, when you're in high pressure situations, sometimes that decision making isn't as easy as us sat here. But yeah, at the same time, it's a couple of times it's happened now for me. So I'm keeping my eye on it. I'm watching you, John. I'm watching what you're doing. Make sure you don't do that again. Just looking at other points that we've got written down. One that interested me, Ivan, is the quality of opposition conversation. So when we played against Swansea, we battered them. They were rubbish. When we played against Blackburn, we battered them in the first half. We tried to set up the same way, that we did with Middlesbrough. And the only reason they didn't break us down is because going forwards, they were hopeless. Going forwards, they didn't look like they'd ever played together before at times, and they just couldn't carve us open. We played against Middlesbrough with players that have played together before, and there were a few times they carved us open, hitting the crossbar late in that first half. They had a few other big chances in the second half. And do you think that it's down to the quality of players we're up against that's stopping? I know it sounds like such an obvious question, like if you play against better players, are they going to do more damage to you? But when we're sitting back and trying to defend a lead in the way that we do you think it's just going to be one of those where the poorer teams won't be able to do it, whereas the better teams often will?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really boring answer, but I just think we're a mid-table team, and I think we have a way, way, way above average manager who's squeezing every drop of potential out of the squad. And he did it last year with a league, like it was a League One, in my opinion, all the players that have gone, Harness, Yates, Wilson, they've all gone to League One and League Two, and he kept us up. And it was like, that was amazing. And he probably would have finished mid-table or just a little bit below mid-table had he had the whole season. And I think this year it'll be the same. The teams towards the top that are spending money and have had multiple years in the Championship to flesh out a real squad, they're going to be better than us in those exact situations, and they're going to score goals out of nothing, and they're going to have that little bit of quality. The same way the teams below us are a little bit behind us, and we have a better squad and a better manager, we're going to win those games. So I just don't see it as it sounds boring because it's like this season, we could make a push for playoffs and, it'd be fantastic because we've got a fantastic manager. But in terms of the squad and like what this season probably will be is mid to high mid-table, we'll beat some teams below us, we'll lose to some teams above us. And then the teams in the middle, like a Watford or, someone where it could go either way, it's a toss-up and it's about moments and it's about having players in the team like, I think, Brandon Diaz, like Adjamang, like Morris, who will go and win you the game. And then it's decisions that Eustace will make that will also get that over the line, which will make us finish, which is the difference between finishing mid-table and, sixth or fifth or whatever it is, because it's a very open championship. So I'm not too worried about it. I just think these are the toss-up games, and I don't think Middlesbrough are going to do that well this year after Rob Edwards has gone. But they're a good team; they've got a good squad, so I'm okay with the result, and I'm okay with that kind of dynamic of losing to teams that have had a lot longer to build a squad. So
it's like a therapy session, Ivan.
It's weird for me. I'm not usually this. I'm not usually this positive after a loss. I'm usually like, to be honest, if you watch me during the game, I was not that positive. But after sleeping on it, it's just like we've won 6 games. I've been on top of the world in this run. So it's like you lose a game where it's a couple of toss-up decisions and some poor defending. I'm not going to hit the ceiling. I'm just not after the game anyway. During the game, I was irate. But
elite mentality.
It's great. This is on top of that. I was, watching Warrnball in League One. I wanted to pull my hair out. Even though we went up, I thought we were awful. And it was like, now we're a good team. We've got a fantastic manager and a really, really bright future. So I'm just enjoying the journey. I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy watching the best striker in the division and the best manager in the division. It's life is good.
Absolutely, and Eustace Enthusiast says the bench is back to League One level as well, and I think he is right. You look at the players that we had on the bench. Obviously, Ryan Nyambe, Caden Jackson, Corey Blackett-Taylor, even Tomo to an extent. Fozzie's about 98 years old. Nelson's barely played in the Championship and also been out for a year.
That's a compliment to Jackson, by the way, that he's a League One bench.
Hey, only 39 goals. Wait, no. It was a 40. 40 games. 40 games without a goal involvement for Caden Jackson now. He's close to a full season, which is a countdown we've been doing.
He's going to catch Nyambe.
Oh, God. Yeah, God, that'll take some work. But talking about the best striker in the league, looking at times when players will be back. Carlton Morris back January, February time, as Eustace says. David Ozo set to come back mid-December. Lewis Travis mid-December. Max Johnston late December. Rian Brewster also mid-December. And then Owen Beck, I don't even know if he's going to even return to Derby. So we've got quite a lot of players out injured. Let's hope we can get those back. And hopefully we get at least one of them back for next week's trip. A trip to, nowhere. We're playing Leicester. Very, very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. Cannot wait. 12:30 kickoff. Hate them. Sick of 12:30 kickoffs at home. You have to get up a bit earlier and travel a bit earlier. And as Wayne Rooney once said, eating pasta at 9 a.m. it's no good for the players. The players hate it. So Leicester at home, they're not in a great run at the moment. Back-to-back defeats for them after they beat Stoke, which was obviously a big result for them, but 3-0 hammering from Southampton, and then a 3-2 defeat to Sheffield United as well, although they almost came back from that. It's going to be a tough one, isn't it, Jamie? It's going to be a really tough game. Like I said, they've had a bit of an up and down start, Leicester, but they've got the quality in that squad, and that's always a worry.
Yeah, they've got real quality in their ranks, and they've not hit the heights, but they're dangerous and they can't be disrespected. In all fairness, I think the manager is under a little bit of pressure. If they lose against us, I wouldn't be surprised that he gets his marching orders. I think he's on the verge. So it's up to their players if they want to keep the gaffer in a job, I guess. But it's another team as well, and I think back down the years and. I'm sure people of a certain age will remember losing in the playoff final against Leicester long before our time, Jake, long before your time, Ivan, as well, probably. But another team we don't seem to get a result against. So it's a little bit of a worry. But what I would say, it was refreshing being able to bounce back from the Watford result. So hopefully we can do it again and we're at home. I think our fans will make it a derby atmosphere, even though it's not a derby, is it? No one really cares about Leicester. Care more about Leeds and Forest and Burton Albion,
Middlesbrough,
and Middlesbrough,
Matlock,
Blackburn. I think it'll be a really good advert for Championship football. I hope it's a good advert for Championship football, and with a few more eyes on it. Hopefully it's a good game, but I think we will have to be at our best to get a result. These can't be underestimated, and I think they will turn a corner. You look at Southampton picking up results now, Ipswich, a bit patchy, but starting to find a little bit of form. Naturally, the cream will rise to the top. So I fully expect them to be at the top come the business end of the season, and they need to win games to do that. So we'll see. I think we'll have to be on our best to get a result.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm just having a look at their team and some of the records. I mean, Patson Daka up front, who I don't think has had an incredible start to the season, but his goal record at Salzburg was better than 1 in 2. Bobby Reed's obviously had a great career at this level and in the Premier League. Mavididi is a good player. Fatwa, who I thought on that first game of the season looked unplayable. Harry Wiggs, who I'm pretty sure has played for England, which is mental. 10 caps for England. So they've got a lot of players that have really good pedigree. It's going to be a real test for Derby because they might not be in good form, but they've got the raw talent in the squad. Ivan, give us a score prediction. Give us some goal scorers.
I'm going to go for a nice bounce back fixture. I'm going to go 2-0 goal scorers are going to be Matt Clark, and I'm going to go Bobby Clark. I'm going to go a double Clark performance, and I'm going to enjoy my train back to London that goes through Leicester. That's going to be a really fun one, because last week I got to hear a Leicester fan refer to St Pancras as St Pancreas for an hour, and I didn't have headphones, so I wanted to jump off. So it's going to be nice getting a little bit of payback for him, and doing them 2-0 in the huge rivalry that we have with them.
Yeah, and if you've got any, we've seen a few in the comments already. If you've got any, please let us know in the comments as well. Jamie, how do you see it going?
The Robbie Savage derby, David Nugent derby. Trying to think of any other players that have played for both. Jake, quickly, come on.
I'm thinking. Let me Google it. I'm gonna have to.
Nah, I thought you'd be better than that.
I know.
You'll have to work on your general knowledge and your football knowledge ahead of the Christmas do. But for me, I think it's going to be a tough one. I'm going to go with a optimistic view in my eyes, and I think that's going to be a score draw. So I'll go 1-1, and I will go for Ibu Adams to get our goal, and I think they'll score first. So Ibu Adams to get the equaliser, and to be honest, I think I'd take that.
Yeah, I think I probably would as well. Just having a look at players that have played for both, by the way. David Nugent, Matt Oakley, Robbie Savage, Curtis Davis, the other one from that horrible deal that got us 11 points, Steve Howard as well, Paul Dickov, Lee Hendry, Tom Lawrence. That's a rogue one. I forgot that he played for Leicester. Yeah, very, very exciting. Curtis Davis, apparently, as well. Russell Holt, wow. Very, very exciting. A lot of players, because we're not rivals.
Traitors.
So they're all traitors. Just having a look in the comments at what people think. Peter Kerr says 2-1, also going for the double Clark. Matt Clark and Bobby Clark. Eustace Enthusiast says we're going to lose 2-1. Brilliant. Salverson's going to score, and then Fasfer's going to score 2 and do the same thing we do every game and just defend for our lives. Colin's saying it's the Callum Elder derby as well. Yeah, Callum Elder. There's quite a lot of players that have played for both. That'd make a good quiz question, I'm sure. I reckon 1-1. I think the manager's sort of fighting for his life at the minute. I think that pure quality is gonna be difficult for us to deal with. I think Salverson will score. I think he gets chances every game. He always gets a good header, doesn't he? A headed chance, and I think he's going to bury one this week. So yeah, 1-1, and to be honest, we'd take it. I'd take it. Don't know about you, I'd certainly take it. So thank you so much for listening. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like. Please do subscribe. Every like we get and every person who subscribes, Jamie's internet gets 1 kilobyte per second quicker. So if we get loads,
we've just lost loads of subscribers now. We've lost loads of people.
Everyone's unsubscribed.
People are taping back their likes.
Everyone makes my job so much easier. So please do. We really appreciate it. And let us know in the comments your thoughts as well. Like I say, every week we get back and read all of them. And it's always good to see what people say as well. So it's been a difficult one. It's an annoying one. 2 Saturdays in a row, we've thrown away a lead, but plenty to go. Points per game, slightly behind on last season under Eustace, only 0.1. So he's got plenty of time to make that back up. So thank you so much for listening. It is goodbye from me.
Leave Brereton Diaz alone. It's goodbye from me.
And up those mid-table Rams, it is goodbye from me.
Playoff push isn't over yet. We'll see you next week.